Mr. President, amidst decimation and devastation, there is a symbol of hope and resilience in Abaco. The red and white striped iconic lighthouse at Hope Town on Elbow Cay, soon after Hurricane Dorian. Some of the residents of Hope Town placed a temporary light that shone in the darkness as a source of unity and as a beacon of hope.
They'll ask me, is that really a working lighthouse? It's like, yeah, I work it every night. Yeah, right. I say, yeah, I'm serious, every night. You come up on the evening and I'll show you. You know, he's like, wow. He said, every 2 hours, you gotta climb 101 steps to wind the race up. And they were like, sure. As far as they know, all the light has been automated. And when I told them it was the last one left in the world, they was like, yeah. I'm serious, it is. You know, but people love it. They love to see the lighthouse. Some people look at it like it's an easy job, but it's not. Anybody who could say it's an easy job, let's switch place for one night. I grew up around the lighthouse, traveling around each lighthouse with my dad from a young boy. You could say it's in my blood. I've been there, stationed at Hope Town as a keeper for about 15 years now. I take over after my dad retired. So, I love it. I'm going to try to keep doing it as long as I can.
are trying to keep the last lighthouse burning as is, without any changes, it's a challenge because modern technology wants to come into play, and the old school isn't necessarily exactly what people want these days, but it's just an amazing icon, and the fact that it's still the last kerosene burning lighthouse in the world, and it's here in Hopetown. All the lighthouses all over the world, there are thousands of them, and here's one that's still run the old-fashioned way ever since 1864.
Some people want to know the history. Some of them will ask when it was built and all this. They say, yeah, 1864, 100 and some years old. Yeah. Some of them will ask, say, how much kerosene do you burn a night? And I'll tell them 2 gallons per night. And they don't believe it. I say, yes, 2 gallons of kerosene per night. And when I told them, some of them will say, well, okay, you do this by yourself? I say, yeah, all night there. 101 steps. I say, yes, every 2 hours. Yeah.
What Jeffery does, it's the same regular pace that they did 150 some years ago. There's no upgrade. There's no faster wheels to make the mechanism run any better or slower. The lenses can't be improved. They're the best that have ever been made. There's no improvement. There's only automation.
I went to the archives at Kew outside of London because the archives in Nassau are incomplete and difficult. I was really trying to find the original plan drawings for the original tower. We do have drawings of the reconstructions because Hopetown's been rebuilt, major rebuilds twice, but I found handwritten specifications for the building of them, but no drawings. I also discovered that a lot of materials were lost in World War II during the Blitz. So I felt very lucky to find what I found. Sometimes I describe Bahamian lighthouses as like, they're kind of like, I would imagine if you adopted a child and you didn't have the whole history, because we know bits and pieces, but we don't know the whole story. We get, it's been definitely like trying to piece together what makes sense and what's possible. We were just one small colony in a big empire. There's 11 lighthouses out of thousands. But the stories of the lives of the keepers of the lighthouses in the Bahamas are infrequently told.
Ain't much of those old guys alive nowadays. Maybe 2 or 3 left, including my dad, that's it. My grandfather used to be a lighthouse keeper. He was stationed at Castle Island Lighthouse. And then my dad, he started off, he used to be with the working party. He used to be with the guys who go around to all of the light stations, paint them, clean it up, and do whatever. And then he became a lighthouse keeper. He's been to all of the lighthouse stations in the Bahamas, every one. Even nowadays, if I have a little problem or something, I could easily pick up the phone and call him, and he'll say, okay, try this, try that, or whatever, you know. If it works, I tell him it works. He say, yeah, it's, you know. So I'm happy I still have somebody I can still call if I have a problem. About me, Jeffery Falls. I'm a quiet guy. Don't like the spotlight. I like being by myself. I like peace and quiet. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, simple person, simple. I grew up in, like, say, Salina Point, small little community, very religious. And I grew up in church. Every Sunday school, our parents used to say, we're not going to church together. You're going to be in the front of it going to church, you know. So we go in the front and they're behind, so nobody get left home. So every Sunday, you know, he installed that in us. So yeah, that's why with me and my family, I would like my family to be with me, you know. That's just how I grew up. Tight-notch family, you see. And then with the station, because when he had to travel, sometime it'll be all of us. Him, my mom, and then along with his 7 kids. So that's, you know, we traveled, you know, so that's a job. He had to provide for us. So I've been to just about all of them. I've been to Grady Nagua, San Salvador, Castle Island, Hole in the Wall, and Hope Town, where I'm at right now.
Without Dave Gale, it was his mission and Jerry Whiteleather's mission to save all the lighthouses of the Bahamas with the Bahamas Preservation Society. And it was such a big undertaking with so many years of trying to raise funding and awareness and trying to get all the lighthouses restored on some of these smaller islands that might not even have somebody living on them. They realized that as the government was starting to automate the last 3 lighthouses, which were San Sal and Anagua and Elbow Reef, that Elbow Reef was the last one. And they decided that it was very important at that point that we convert from the Bahamas Lighthouse Preservation Society to the Elbow Reef Lighthouse Society. And in that way, save this lighthouse. Then we can go back to trying to save the rest of them. And the key was trying to get the knowledge needed to restore the lighthouse, but in the process, train and educate Bahamians to do the work.
If you're the last kerosene burning lighthouse in the world, where you don't go on Amazon and look for your mantles. You know, you have to figure out how to do it. Dave had tried. Oh, he tried so hard. He actually was hand sewing the mantle material in Hopetown to keep the lighthouse kerosene burning. He ran out of material. The Chinese were making mantles, charging us $5 a piece. They sometimes worked, sometimes didn't, sometimes worked for 2 weeks, sometimes didn't work at all.
Well, if something broke mechanically in the tower, we do have a few spare parts from some of the lighthouses that were automated. So I'll go through that and see what, you know, if it could be fixed or change it out. Or if it's a simple problem, go right back. I could call my dad and he will let me know what's what and this and that. But that's the parts-wise. But structure-wise, I really don't know a whole lot about the structure-wise. That's where I'll have to call my Super Kent.
If it's something a bit more structural, which is pretty much what the Lighthouse, Elbow Reef Lighthouse Society has been involved in, is a top-down approach from the lighthouse to get her back in pristine condition. We started at the top. We had a leak in the canopy, and with lots of experts that have lended information, we were able to come up with the process and what we needed to fix it. And we're able to fix the canopy. The canopy's leaking caused a lot of rust to gather in the weather glass, which is the diamond-shaped glass that you see on the outside of the lighthouse when you look up at the tower. And that rust growing, there was nowhere for the glass to go, and so she started fracturing. And it got worse and worse fairly quickly. But with some research, we were able to find a company in Anderson, South Carolina that was able to make the old school way of heating the glass and bending it, because each of those panes of glass has a 6-degree radius curve in it, so none of them are flat. So they all had to be heated and molded into shape, but they also had to be not tempered, so that we, even though we measured all the glass, and every piece of glass was a little bit different, except, you know, there was a handful that was this, a handful was that, and then of course there was one that was not like any of the rest. We had to be able to grind it down if we needed to make it fit in properly in the hole.
I still think, it's so important. It's such a doable portion of Bahamian history to keep it going, because along the way people have, you know, it hasn't been left. It's never been unoccupied. It's not like let's go restore this and move somebody in. It's never not been, you know. And so no one's going to give up and be the guy that, okay, well, lock it up, and not on my watch, and not on Dave's watch, not on anybody's watch, not on Cancer or Jeffrey, you know. I mean, my hope is the community will figure a way to really be in charge, because they really are anyway, in a sense. It just isn't on paper anywhere. So, I mean, I don't fault the Bahamian government for not being able to take care of all the things that they have. It's a humongous task.
Creating Nago. I went down there to check it out, and it was like, it saddened me. It was a disgrace. You know, just to see how they let it run down. I couldn't even go up in the lighthouse. Some of the steps were broken up, rotten up. You know, it's in Salvador. It's still manageable. It just needs a few little stuff done, and it could still be right back to kerosene, which I hope they will do. So right now, the future of Lighthouse in the Bahamas is looking very dull, except for this one, I could say, because the community wants it here, and you got the community fighting for it, you know. And once you have the community fighting for it, you know, it goes a long way. So.
Hurricane Dorian, rapidly strengthening over the past 24 hours to a monster Category 5 storm, striking the Bahamas with 185-mile-per-hour winds.
The second strongest storm ever recorded in the Atlantic.
It is the equivalent of at least an EF4 tornado over an area for an extended period of time that could be a day or two. I mean,
the most powerful storm ever recorded to strike the island nation.
23-foot storm surge, to put that in perspective, that is beyond a 2-story building.
Yeah.
Those are islands that are maybe 3 or 4 feet high. So that is as life-threatening and as dangerous as you get as a situation.
Power and communications are gone.
Now, the way to see what Dorian has left behind of parts of this island nation.
This is probably the most saddened and worst day of my life to address the Bahamian people. And I can only say to them that I hope this is not the last time they would hear my voice. and may God be with them. It remained stationary over Grand Bahama and North Abaco, exacerbated by the 30-hour fixed position of the storm's eye wall on some communities. At its peak, Hurricane Dorian had maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour and gusts of over 220 miles per hour. There were storm surges of 18 to 23 feet above normal tide levels, 3 times my height of 6'1". There are officially 56 lives lost, but we know that there are considerably more lives lost because there are 600 missing, because the rising, then receding ocean water swept away young and old from their homes. The picturesque and industrious principal town of Marsh Harbor on Abaco has disappeared. There is nothing left of it but heaps of rubble. The hurricane was a physical apocalypse for some communities. Thousands in our country still suffer and face great difficulties in the future. As we struggle to recover and to rebuild our broken towns and settlements and mend our spirits.
It's 11 o'clock. I want to try to go along the shore.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to go to that meeting.
Yeah.
Find out what they say.
Is that a brass fitting?
The rocks there, because that's a piece of check down. The one big was to build a high wall. Get the man up high, like that back wall. Take all this.
Whew. We were scrambling. A lot of it is a blur, believe it or not, because you're so in the middle of it. I mean, you're frantic trying to prepare for it. Then you finally get in your house and you're constantly watching where's it going, if you know, because by then you still have power because the storm's not here. So you can watch it on the TV, you can track the storm. You're anxious as to why aren't you turning away from us? No, not that way, the other way, you know. And then when it comes, you're basically reacting to what needs to happen. And the storm was bad. I didn't feel a lot of damage, but once the eye came down, it was so loud that you didn't even know that you were losing part of your roof. So once the eye came down, it was actually beautiful. It's a beautiful sunny day. Quiet, no breeze, sun's out, blue sky. You knew you had probably maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes to get outside, assess the damage, figure what you needed to do, move people around. The wild part is when the wind starts back You know, you would think, oh, because you think, well, in the beginning, the front of the storm, when the wind dies down, it's a slow die down. It just gets quieter and quieter and quieter, and then you realize you're in the eye. Well, when it comes back really fast. So once the wind starts, you need to run, you know, and all of a sudden things start flying around and moving around, and you're not somewhere safe. It was time to come back inside, and that was, unfortunately, that was the worst part. All of a sudden it's dark. I mean, the lighthouse is never dark. It's on every night, 365. Unfortunately, Jeffery wasn't here for the hurricane, but typically a lighthouse keeper, during a storm, there should be 2 lighthouse keepers on call. He was on vacation and he didn't get back because of the intensity of the storm. And the light went dark, and there it was kind of like everything went dark. We had to basically cut our way from my home to Hopetown Inn and Marina through the woods on a path that had been there, but we had to create a new path. We knew we were going in the right direction, but it wasn't the old path because there was so many trees. So we got through there. That was kind of our lifeline. And then we worked our way to the lighthouse through Lighthouse Marina, where all the boats had basically moved on top of each other. As usual. Oh, aha.
The General Assembly will now hear an address by Mr. Robert Alexander Muniz, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. May I request a protocol to escort His Excellency.
Mr. President, amidst the decimation and devastation, there is a symbol of hope and resilience in Abaco, from which we may draw inspiration and renewed energy and hope. The red and white striped iconic lighthouse at Hopetown on Elbow Cay, which is featured on the back of the Bahamas $10 bill, survived Hurricane Dorian. The 89-foot lighthouse was built in 1863, helping to warn of dangerous reefs. The lighthouse is a symbol of pride for Abaconians and Bahamians. And soon after Hurricane Dorian, some of the residents of Hopetown placed a temporary light that shone in the darkness with few other sources of light on the horizon as a symbol of resilience, as a source of unity, and as a beacon of hope.
I think I wrote at the time it was a light that shone, out a hell of a lot further than 60 miles, Yeah, we were trying to figure out, should we do it? Should we not do it? Will it hurt the the lens turning machinery to turn? In case it's got salt in there and all of that stuff, and then So for the beginning was just doing it with a hugely long extension cord to a little mini generator was the best we could do, but it was super.
Without the principal keeper there, the Lighthouse Society is not comfortable doing with the knowledge that he has. We know just enough to help him, but he's the one that has all the resources and the knowledge based on this generational lighthouse keeper knowledge that's passed down from father to son and grandfather and other keepers that were happen to be at the station as well.
On my trip back to Hopetown after Dorian, it was a long, bumpy ride, but when you grew up around water and boats, you get used to it. And coming to Hopetown, when we came across Lovers, we came through Lovers into Hopetown. And to saw the first sight of Hopetown, it was unbearable. Just couldn't believe it. It didn't sink in right away. It was hard. It was real hard. It brought tears to my eyes. Just to see that's home, that's Hopetown. It had to sink in for a while, and it was real. It's real, real. It's a hard thing to talk about Dorian. It's a real hard thing to talk about Dorian. A lot of life lost, a lot of families separated. The guy should know it separated me and my family. I couldn't hear from them for weeks. I didn't know if they were alive or dead. So it's real hard to talk on Dorian. Thank God for life. And we will rebuild, slowly but surely.
The keepers' homes, they lost all their porches. So all the overhangs and all the porches were everywhere. We knew that it had been a lot of tornadoes because you could see where everything was in circles. The principal keeper's home was the most devastated.
Jeff, don't give me nothing that you can use.
Both of them are open. Both of them are open.
The tower itself actually fared pretty good, except we did have some windows and doors blow open, which meant a lot of water and salt. The salt right now, if you go up in the tower right now, there's a lot of rust on the brass right up around the mechanism and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, the little door opened up during the storm, the little door out to the gallery deck. So that did let something in, but no, I don't remember. I think we were up at like at least a dozen of the diamonds were leaking badly by the time we were finally getting around to doing it. So it was, nah, you know, and it could easily have just blown them all out, you know? I mean, it was 185 sustained, so what it would have done to the lens, what it would have done to all of the machinery, the lens turning equipment.
They say if you don't do it, nobody else could do it too.
I mean, if I would use stuff.
You give me none?
Oh, where are we going with the generator?
Really on the back wall.
I was throwing that stuff right there.
Make it in space.
This is rough condition like this. Right next. The same rod as yours.
That's my house there, but I'm living in this one, yeah.
So where are we putting this now?
Right here.
representatives from local district council will be present to address the community's concerns. We encourage all members of the community to attend. New arrival, please check in at Hopetown Command Center. If you have a radio that you got from Command Center, then please return it and recharge it. And for the quote for the day is by Muhammad Ali, and here it is. Inside of a ring or out, ain't nothing wrong with going down. It's staying down that's wrong. Great quote, Kim.
And then she clean.
Yeah. Gotta put my hand on Gusta. There you go. That's how she's supposed to be sitting.
So did Mary have an operation?
Not as yet.
What are they going to do to him?
Now he's supposed to go do hers tomorrow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Hope. That's what that means. That's hope. I mean, I talked to a lot of people there. It's like, wow. Miss Ken, we're very thankful for you. That gives plenty of people hope to see the light. Although it wasn't spinning or anything, that was a light of hope to show the people that, you know, we can make it. You know? And I was very proud of that, man. That really It's really, really, really nice of him. Yeah. And once you give people hope, you know, it's always a chance.
It was like, oh, there's hope. Normalcy can come back, you know, and without that, there's a void for everybody that lives in Hopetown or calls Hopetown their home, you know, be it somebody that vacations here or comes here once, you know, it gets in your soul, and that's what they call the light. The light is the soul of the lighthouse, and it gets in your soul as a person that you carry with you all the time.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed and appreciated. You know what I mean? Just to know that, you know, my dad did it and my grandfather did it, you know what I'm saying? I feel blessed and honored. You know? Ain't much people can say that, you know. I mean, that you were the last person who could really work a lighthouse. That sounds so, it doesn't sound real, but you know, it's the last person that could operate a lighthouse. That's a lot. Once you come, if you're interested and you really want to know how it works, you could come over. I could give you a tour, light it up for you, you know. And you could donate to help keep it this way too, if you like. It would be really appreciated.